Before the video starts, I just want to give a thank you for the support I've gotten in the last year. This is going to be reviewing every single one of my chickens that I've reviewed on this channel before. It's going to be a compilation. Be sure to watch the end or as far as you can, and let's get on with it. Just remember, my voice does sound a little bit different because I did a lot of these reviews last year. So in this video, we're going to be talking about one specific chicken breed that will absolutely be the best for your farm. They're called the Buff Orpington, and let's check them out. Alright, so if you don't know what a Buff Orpington is, this is one right here. Hoping you'll be able to see. A Buff Orpingtons, they're yellow chickens. They're pretty cute chickens. But it's not only that, but they also lay a significant amount of eggs per year. Say about 275 to 300 eggs per year. So they lay most of the year, actually. Despite what Google tells you, they lay about 275 eggs a year. Google says they lay 190. But let's continue talking about them. So they're not only that, but they're also really friendly. And yeah, let's talk about that real quick. Alright, so Buff Orpingtons, they don't take a while to actually age. And my personal experience with Buff Orpingtons has been very positive. So here's what I've had an experience. So here's how I've experienced them. So basically what happens is they will always come up to you. This is for basically all my chickens. But the Buff Orpingtons were the ones that were leading this. And basically what the Buff Orpingtons did was they would come up to me. They would like run up to me and just quickly running up to me. And then basically, you know, they weren't like aggressive. They weren't like looking for treats. They wanted to clean off my legs. And yeah, sometimes I'll be like out in the forest with shorts on, and I'll like get on some I'll have seed pods just stuck to my leg. And basically what they'll do is they'll just let you, and if you like sit down, make sure there's no chicken crap in that area, but you just want to sit down, and they'll come over there and they'll start to, you know, bite off some of this stuff. And the Buff Orpingtons were the ones that led this back in late 2020 until eventually all these other chickens caught on. And yeah, if you can properly guess what the next two breeds of chickens I'll be talking about is, I will give you a shout out. Now let's talk about if they're good around everyone else. Buff Orpingtons are pretty easily adopted to other chickens, and they're pretty welcoming, because I remember back in, May of 2021, so almost 2 years, about a year and a quarter ago, I don't know why I almost said almost 2 years ago, but yeah, about a year and a quarter ago, we had 3 new chickens: Gray Cloud, Sprinkles, and Falcon. Obviously, I think Falcon might be more of a mistake than I thought of back then, but back then was a different time. We didn't know he was a rooster for like a good month and a half. And then, you know, what happened was like the next day, these chickens, they weren't like ready for egg laying yet, but I remember our Buff Orpington Lovey decided it would be a cool idea to show Sprinkles and Gray Cloud where the egg laying is. They show them around, you know. That's actually proof that Buff Orpingtons, they actually do pretty well around other chickens, but they also do well around ducks. And Gray Cloud's down there. Yeah, I don't know if you can see, but Gray Cloud is that chicken wandering around down there. Buff Orpingtons are also really broody hens. So that means that if you want like really good chickens to hatch out eggs, Buff Orpingtons are the way to go. Now Buffs, they're not only a good chicken for the family, they're not only a good egg layer, but they're also dual purpose chickens, meaning you can use them for both eggs and meat. However, they are a little bit on the smaller side, so that's why if I were to do meat chickens, which I probably will, I would likely stay around just one purpose meat birds, since Buff Orpingtons, they're not really big enough for that. I mean, seriously, Buff Orpingtons, they're not even that big, but Roosters, on the other hand, yeah, they're pretty big. Now let's talk about Roosters. Now Buff Orpington Roosters they're pretty sizable, but it's not only that, but you don't really have to take their life just because they're annoying or something like that. They are actually probably the friendliest breed of chicken I've ever heard of. Same thing goes for the Rooster. Of course, they're not going to become Loveys, which is actually one of my Buff Orpingtons. But instead, what they'll become is they'll basically, sort of like in a way, just come up to you. They'll greet you, but instead of running up to you and trying to absolutely destroy your legs like Waldo and Falcon do. Instead, what they'll do is they'll just, instead of doing that, what they'll do is they'll just come up to you. They won't really do much harm. So Buff Orpington Roosters, they're a great breed for roosters, and they're not terribly loud because I've been around them before, and they're not that big of a deal. But Buff Orpingtons, they are not good for dual purposes, so I'd recommend you to stay around only one purpose and get more such as like Cornish Rexes for meat birds. Now, how do you tame a Buff Orpington chicken? Well, they usually tame themselves on their own. But if your chickens just simply won't tame, here are some things that you can do. So firstly, give them attention. Chickens are extremely sociable animals. They love having attention. And I'll show you why. Point A, point B, point C, and point D. There's my point. They love to be sociable. And chickens, not only are they sociable animals, but they also enjoy being given the attention. They also enjoy it whenever you are the one that gives them the feed and water, because they basically look up to you as a defender, sometimes even above the rooster. That's the pet flock for you. They look above and beyond the rooster, thinking that I'm much more powerful than him, because he's probably a lazy rooster. Yeah, he's like the first one in. Roosters are usually supposed to be the last one in. And since any chicken predator will probably run away the second it sees me near them, I think they should look up to me as their defender, or anyone else that's around my size, 5'5", because, yeah, at that point you could just scare off any chicken predator. Oh yay, this clip's more than a minute long. Let's go. Yeah, let's think for a second, like, how long did it take you to tame your chickens? Well, Buff Orpingtons takes under a week to tame, so, yeah, I have to tutorial. Hey, just want to say thank you for the support on the video the other day. That video is only the third video on my channel to ever reach 1,000 views. Thank you so much. But besides the point, today we're going to be talking about barred rock chickens, so let's start. So if you for some reason don't know what a barred rock is, this is what they look like right here. That black and white chicken with bars, that's why they're called barred rocks. They're usually about, I want to say they're about 23 to 26 inches long, while weighing usually like 2 to 4 pounds. They're pretty sizable chickens. They're not really dual purpose, since, well, they're not just like suit for that. And plus, they can't really be over like 10 months old, or, it's not gonna really do it that much. And then basically, they're gonna lay usually like, I want to say 300 eggs a year, maybe 285. Somewhere between 285 and 300 eggs per year. I've had pretty decent experience with them, except for their first year. They're pretty slow before they start to speed up on their second year again. I will say, I've had a genuinely positive experience with them. They usually lay throughout the whole winter too. During the winter in this flock, we only have like 3 or 4 chickens that lay, and of them, half of them are barred rocks. I remember only having 2 barred rocks. Now we have 3. We have Summer, What the Cluck, I didn't say the F word, and Mrs. Peepers. Yeah, some of those names, no idea where they came from, except for What the Cluck. Now, barred rock chickens, they are pretty similar to Buff Orpingtons, except a little bit more, flighty. They're not, like, absolutely awful chickens. They won't, like, always go running from you, but they are a little bit harder to tame. Like, I'd rate them maybe, I'd rate them like intermediate for that. Barred rocks they're fairly flighty. Half and half it's sort of like a half and half thing. Give them tons of attention because they love having attention. Barred rocks are always going to be the ones that lead the flock, so you always want to make sure that they're given that. And they also need and if they need special care, give them special care. The most common thing that barred rocks need is literally the same as other chickens. So water, food, treats, and other stuff like that. Other like essentials. Well, treats really isn't an essential, but it is a really high recommendation of mine. Basically, anything that a chicken needs, the barred rock obviously needs. I think that's pretty obvious. Alright, so now this is a question not a question, this is a part that I forgot to mention. Sorry about the bad grammar, I literally just got up to film this. So basically, what you're going to want to do is they are pretty cold hardy chickens, meaning they can live out in the cold. Same thing with buffs. If you saw my video last night, it didn't perform as well as, like, I don't know, the other short I posted a couple days ago, the one about corn. And then basically what we're going to do now we're going to discuss about, Like, will they like lay throughout the winter like my chickens will? Sort of. Well, not really, but yeah, they can lay throughout the winter. Not every barred rock is going to do that, but some of them will. Barred rocks usually split 50-50 between who lays in the winter and who doesn't. And most of the time you'll find that the chickens that lay in the winter will be the more friendlier ones than the ones that don't lay. We only have 2 of the 3 barred rocks that lay during the winter, and only one of them is not really that friendly. And what chicken is the cheapest out of them? This chicken is honestly one of the dirt cheapest chickens that you can get, yet they're one of the best. Barred rocks usually cost, I want to say, like $2 to $4 a piece, so I think they're on the cheaper side from the other chickens, which cost a little bit more. Of the 3 breeds of chickens that I'm going to be talking about over the course of the next few days, I am going to be mentioning that this will be the cheapest one. The most expensive one will be tomorrow's, and if you can properly guess it in the comments below, you get a shout out. And yeah, if you know what, and also sorry for not. In today's video, we are going to be talking about one specific chicken breed that will blow your mind with their egg production and their varied egg colors. We are, of course, talking about Easter eggers, and they're down there. We have 3 of them, and they can be mixed in with so many different breeds of chickens that if you get like 10 of them, that's 10 different varieties of eggs that you could be getting. Alright, so basically we're going to be talking about the Easter eggers, and for the most part, they're usually between 18 and 30 inches long. Here's one right here. You see that gray one? That's an Easter egger. And the cool thing about these chickens is that if you look right there under their beak, you'll notice they have like, I don't know, sort of like a comb under there. Some Easter eggers have it, some don't. It doesn't matter. And not only that, but some varieties of Easter eggers also have fluffy legs. Whereas if you look at most of my Easter eggers, you'll notice they have an absence of fluffy legs, like falcon. That is simply because of the breeds they're mixed with. The reason they're called Easter eggers is because they lay a huge variety of eggs. They can be blue, they can be green, and sometimes even brown with those 2 colors mixed in. For the most part, I have a bunch of blue-green eggs, so yeah, they'll be like split right between the middle of that. And that's the color of egg you're going to get from our chickens. The only green eggs we get here are from Gray Cloud, since she's a green queen mix, meaning she was mixed with a bunch of other chickens to create a green queen Easter egger. Now, if you want a steady production of these chickens, how many chickens do you need? Well, to get a steady production of blue-green eggs, what you're going to want to need is you're going to want to need usually, I want to say about 3 to 6 Easter eggers. But if you want to prioritize getting this, because green and blue eggs, you don't find them in the store. That's why they're called Easter eggers, because sometimes if you're going to make Easter eggs, and for like Easter and stuff like that, you usually dye eggs. But for some of them, they already come dyed. And they do this year-round. Easter eggers are pretty productive hens, usually laying between, I want to say, 200 and 285 eggs per year. I also must say that these chickens are also real friendly, too, for the amount of eggs that they produce. But yeah, 3 to 6 chickens is a good amount if you want to make them your priority for production, more than 6. Usually, I want to say about 6 to 12 if you want to make them your priority. Because Easter eggers, they're pretty hard to come around. When you're going out shopping, there's none. And when you're trying to find them at farm stands, most of the time they're organized into different things. But for us, we just clean off the eggs and put them randomly into the cartons, meaning that you can have a normal brown egg from like our buffs or bards, and then you'll have a dark brown egg from our marins, and then you'll have a couple blue eggs from our Easter eggers. Now, since Easter eggers come in a huge variety of chickens, sometimes what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure they have more shade, especially when you look at those darker Easter eggers. I'm going to give you one of them. And since I'm too lazy to go down there, since it's like 95 degrees right now, I'm going to show you a picture. Burnt chicken tender. Imagine that chicken just goes out in the sun, and yeah, sunburnt. Almost is basically burnt chicken tenders. The reason is because, well, it's simply just like, their feathers are just simply absorbing all the heat and stuff like that. So, best bet is to make sure there's as much shade as possible. And this is for any other breed of chicken, regardless of that. Even buffs get hot sometimes. The reason is just simply because, well, they're not completely white chickens. Leghorns will absorb a lot less, meaning you might need a little bit less than 15% of the shade cover that you're currently using for your darker breeds of chickens. Now, if for some reason you've never watched any of my videos before, which chances are just based on how many percentage of the viewers are subscribed to my channel, you probably haven't, basically means that you probably don't know some of the essentials that you might need for chickens if you're just beginning. And yeah, basically a couple of essentials I'd recommend for Easter eggers along with any other breed of chickens are waterers, feed, and yeah, they typically use about an average amount, so maybe like 9 to 10 inches of water per day per chicken, so not a lot. So usually around a pint of water per chicken per day, so make sure you have all that covered for them. And other stuff such as food, they usually eat around like 1/4 pound of food per day. In the summer, an entire flock of 1 dozen chickens will go through a 50-pound bag of feed, but in the winter, in 1 month, they'll go through like 3 50-pound bags of feed, just simply because all the grass around us is dead. And you might be wondering, why is the grass around me dead? Well, we're in a drought right now, and it's a very serious drought. We are in an extreme drought, so almost there. What is going on, everybody? My GoPro died, so I can't do that today. So we're going to be talking about black copper marins today, and yeah, let's start. Alright, so first thing to know about these black copper marins is that they're roosters that I feel like have like a rooster black copper marin. There's no need to like have them for like dinner when like you find out they're a rooster when you're hatching out chickens, because that's what a lot of people do when they see roosters and really common breeds such as like Easter eggers. Since those breeds really aren't worth that much, they'll throw them on the dinner plate as soon as they're like 6 or 7 months old. But here's the thing about black copper marins. Well, you see, for black copper marins, you know, they have really amazing roosters, and black copper marins are on the much more expensive side. So black copper marins, they can range from anywhere from 10 to 60 US dollars. I don't know what that is in your local currency. Just use the Google money translating thing and you'll find out what that is in your local currency. Anyways, as I was saying, black copper marins are sort of on the more expensive side. Now, black copper marin roosters, they are, I gotta say, really good roosters. They know how to protect, they know what they're doing. So you see those chickens over there, you see that one, see that rooster? There's another chicken right next to him. If you can like see them, those are black copper marins. Black copper marins are the dominant breed in this flock, despite there's only 3. And you see, black copper marin roosters, as long as you tame them at a young age, they won't really be that aggressive to you. Alright, so now let's talk about some other stuff that a lot of people ask about, like their production. So if you look right there, that's a black copper marin rooster. If you're wondering, they're usually like $8 to $12 each. Now, if you're wondering like how many eggs they'll produce each year, they'll usually produce, I want to say, 220, 230 eggs a year, around that amount. Obviously, roosters don't produce any eggs, and yeah, it's kind of raining right over here. So yeah. Anyways, roosters, they don't produce eggs, like I'm pretty sure you probably know at this point. But yeah, black copper marin chickens lay 220 to 230 eggs per year, sometimes more than that. Like, we have some pretty nice black copper marin hens that will lay a decent amount of eggs. And yeah, they are a really easy breed to raise, just simply because of how tame they are. And yeah, I've had a lot of experience with them. And yeah, let's talk about taming them real quick, since, well, if you want to have them in like a flock that you really want to prioritize keeping like as safe as possible in like a pet area, let's talk about that real quick. Black copper marin hens. If you don't know, black copper marin hens are extremely tame chickens. They almost always tame themselves on their own, as long as you're present there for at least an hour a day. Because black copper marin hens, like, they enjoy being around people. They are really sociable animals, just like those. This is the reason why I selected Buff Orpington, Barred Rock, and Easter Egger chickens as my videos. Black copper marin hen right there. They are really tame, they're really sociable. They're also really broody hens at some points. Not all of them are, but some of them can be. It doesn't matter what ones are, but you know, you'll probably have to deal with broody hens, so if you want to keep them, keep them. But if you want to break their broodiness, here's what you can do. Just like take them out of the box every time you see them. I'm pretty sure I've like explained that like 50 times on my channel anyways. Now, because black copper marins are one of those breeds of chickens that are really well known for their roosters, how do you tame a rooster, in fact? I know what I said earlier, but how do you do that? So basically, what you're going to need to do is you're going to want to hand tame them. That's one of the ways you can do it. So hand taming them is picking them up in the brooder at a young age. A lot. And if you're wondering how you hold a chicken, here, let me show you. So you see my 3 fingers right there? That's how you're gonna hold a chicken. You're gonna hold a chicken and you're gonna put them in like 3 fingers like this, and that's how they love being held. My chickens really love how I do that, so yeah, that's how you're gonna wanna tame them, because they feel really comfortable in that position at a really young age. Another way that you can tame black copper Marin hens is by simply doing this. Not hens, roosters. Is by simply doing this. So if you want to tame any rooster, in fact, what you're going to want to do is, first of all, you're going to want to firstly hold them a lot at night, because at night they're a lot weaker and they're a lot more flighty. So what you're going to want to do is take them off your roosting bar and you're going to hold them like this. Hold them under your shoulder, and you're going to carry them for about 5 minutes every single night for the next 4 weeks. You could also try to win his hen's respect by feeding them and taming them, or you can win his respect as well by also feeding him and showing him who's boss. And just so you know, kicking him won't help anything. You might think that'll hurt the chicken, but nah, that'll actually not really hurt him. Instead, that'll just piss him off even more. So yeah, don't do that. Yeah, that was all I needed to explain. Alright, so if you want a chicken breed that's a Rhode Island Red, but is not a Rhode Island Red because they have absolutely no contributions to each other, well, I'd highly recommend an ISA Brown. But you're like, bro, what the hell is an ISA Brown? And, well, here they are. So if you look under the coop, you'll see a brownish chicken, not that silver one not that gold lace Wyandotte that's walking out. ISA Browns are the best layers if you don't want a Rhode Island Red, and they're much better around family. So if you want like a pet flock, I'd highly recommend ISA Browns, or even if you just want like, but here's a closer look at an ISA Brown right in that bush. For some reason she's in there. So ISA Browns, really cool chickens, would recommend. But why would I recommend them? They're very good affordability, and the fact that they're very inexpensive, and you can have them so that way they're only hens. It's very easy since they're known as red sex-linked chickens. That's their nickname. And then there's the other things with this chicken as well, which are they're really good egg production, which is about 300 to 345 eggs a year, which when you take a look at that, that's about 95% of the year they're laying an egg on average, which is absolutely crazy to think about it. So yeah, I'd highly recommend them if you can get them, obviously. And there's a couple other good benefits that they give you, like friendliness. Rhode Island Reds give you the amount of eggs that you want, but not the amount of friendliness that these chickens provide you with. Like, yes, they're a lot better in pet flock, and you're like, what are some benefits of that? So let me show you. Alright, so if you notice that I have a rooster over here, he's really annoying. He's the worst rooster anyone could possibly ever ask for. Well, you're in luck if you think that an ISA Brown rooster will be better than Falcon could have ever dreamed of being. Because yes, 100%. These roosters are so much better, but they're very hard to come by. I'll say with most breeds of chickens, you have about a 60% chance of getting all hens if you have them properly bred correctly. But with these chickens, typically I'd say there's probably like an 80 or 90% chance, especially since they're sex-linked chickens. So it is 100% guaranteed for some breeders that they can give you the right hen or rooster. I would prefer all hens, considering that you can give them in a pet environment. So what are some benefits of it being in a pet environment? Well, these chickens lay same amount of eggs, live for a similar amount of times as other chickens, even though sometimes more. These chickens typically live for about 8 years or more. Most chickens live for about 6 years or more. And they're a lot less prone to egg diseases. I've noticed that a lot with other breeds of chickens. As they get older, they start dying due to egg diseases. These chickens have a little bit less, but it's a very unnoticeable thing, since they still can die, especially at an earlier age, due to this sort of stuff. And not only that, but their eggs are also store-bought quality, if not even better. So now let's break down the necessary details about this chicken that you need to know before you get it. So, how long do they live? Like I said, 4 to 12 years on average. So about the same as the other chickens. They lay about up to 365 eggs a year. With some, they can lay every single day of the year, and others are slacking off for a couple days, which is fine, by me at least. As far as friendliness goes, on the scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give him a solid 8.5. I have seen friendlier breeds of chickens, like Easter Eggers and Buff Orpingtons, but the benefit of the doubt that I got you here is that they lay more eggs than any of those chickens. Another thing here is, are they better than Rhode Island Reds? Well, it's a draw, sort of. To be honest, yes. In terms of friendliness and egg production, they are better than Rhode Island Reds. but their eggs are a little bit less, they are a little bit smaller, but you still get similar quality. So if you compare a store-bought egg to a farm egg, there is some differences that you'll notice, especially with the icy brown eggs, but there's really no difference in terms of color or hue of the eggs. So there's very little to no detail that you'll notice if you slip in an icy brown egg and replace it. If you like replace like an egg that you find in like a store carton with like an icy brown egg, there's really little to no difference. Obviously if you slip like a black copper Marin egg in there, there'll be a big difference, but not these chickens. Now my final point brings me over to these chickens over here, especially this one right here, Loudmouth. She's my go-to buff now for getting cleans because unfortunately Lovey died recently. Why am I talking about other breeds of chickens? Because all these chickens asked you to subscribe to the channel and like this video. Alright, that was pretty bad, but they sort of do want you to. They'd prefer if I help them fund their little mealworm edition, and looking at the price of mealworms nowadays, yeah, it's pretty safe to say they're not cheap. Neither is chicken food. Chickens need to be fed. If you want to see more chicken videos just like this one, I'm uploading 2 videos a day, mostly morning and evening, so find the time that works best for you and watch all of them. 4,000 hours soon. Alright, so today's a nice morning out, but you want to know what nice morning equals? Talking about Wyandottes. Let's do a little bit of a breed overview. Here's some more things you need to know about them. So how many eggs they lay a year? I said it earlier, is about 200 to 230 medium to slightly large sized eggs. How long do you typically get them to live for? Well, that typically varies, but I'd say probably about 4 to 7, maybe 4 to 8 years. So like a decent age. If you're lucky, maybe 9 to 12. But that's only for like different types of them. That's only like certain like variation specific, and sometimes different breeders throw in certain things which might make your chicken live longer or shorter. It also might come in touch with vaccines and stuff like that. So that was some of the stuff you might want to know about Wyandottes to consider before you get them. They're pretty good. I'd only give them an 8 out of 10 because they are predator magnets, and I mean that. So yeah, this video, I just felt like I was rambling aimlessly because I kind of forgot to bring my notes out here about them. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed. And if you want to see more chicken reviews, be sure to click the like and subscribe button. We do chicken reviews here constantly. And we also do gardening and tons of other outdoors content. So if that's your type of content, like and subscribe. Alright, so we just got to know one thing before we even start discussing about Wyandottes, that there's more than one type of Wyandotte. There's silver laced, gold laced, and multiple other things. I personally have experience with silver and gold laced. Right down here you'll see silver laced Wyandotte. I have no clue where my gold laced Wyandottes are, however. I would show you my gold laced if I could find her, however, but I think she's probably in the coop somewhere. If you're wondering, these chickens lay medium-sized eggs, typically between about, I want to say, probably like about 200 eggs a year. They're cream brown, so if you have Buff Orpingtons, the yellow ones, those ones, you'll notice that they have a similar egg color, except they're much smaller eggs. Typically they're better if you want to have smaller egg portions, but typically most people want larger egg portions. Another thing to quickly know about these chickens is that they have a lot of different varieties. So if you think that silver and gold lace are the only ones, you are wrong, because there are multiple different varieties of these types of chickens. And trust me when I say that they are some pretty cool chickens, I actually mean it. The only issue I have with Wyandottes, however, is the fact that they're literally a predator magnet. Like, I'm not even joking. The amount of times we've lost a silver-laced Wyandotte or a gold-laced Wyandotte to like a bobcat or something is absolutely absurd. So make sure your Wyandottes are protected, guys. That's the one piece of advice I'd give to you. So let's move on to some more advice. So it's August and people want to get chickens that way they can start laying in the spring. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you 3 different breeds of chickens that lay blue eggs if you want a little bit of variety in your little egg basket this spring. We're going to be going over 4 things. We're first going to go over cost, enjoyability, reliability, and roosters. Let's go. So the first breed we're going to go over today are Green Queens. So we're going to be ranking them on money first. I'll give them a 23 out of 25. If you're wondering, they are literally only like $6 each, which will add up over time, especially considering we're getting 6. That'll be about $36. But they're definitely the most expensive ones on this list. But at least they get the job done, right? None of these chickies in here are Green Queens, however. All the ones that look like Easter eggers are Easter eggers, and trust me, they're later in the video. Roosters. Oh, this is where I have a nice little word to say. 12 out of 25. Falcon and Snow White exist. Falcon is literally the most egotistical rooster ever. Snow White just sat around and did nothing. However, I'm pretty sure there are some people that do enjoy Green Queen roosters, which is why I didn't give them like a straight out 3 out of 25 or something like that. I just gave them a straight up 12 out of 25 because I know there are some enjoyment factors, like watching them do stupid things. If it was like a Black Copper Marin rooster, that would have easily been one of the greatest roosters you could have ever bought. In terms of reliability, we're not talking about how good the hatchery gets the chickens sorted out based on their genders, because at the time they were new, so I would have given them like a 12 out of 25 again. But we're talking about eggs. 24 out of 25. They lay plenty of eggs, although if you do have Easter eggers, it's very hard to tell if they're actually laying or if it's your other Easter eggers that are laying. And enjoyability, oh boy, you're gonna love this one. 25 out of 25. Gray Cloud exists. Well, used to exist, unfortunately. Gray Cloud was one of the greatest chickens you could have ever asked for. Very fluffy chicken. So hopefully we get more of those. Now we have the olive eggers. Now these are going to be the first ones that are above a B+ on this list. Just a little bit of a spoiler for you. We're going to talk about money. That's a 24 out of 25. You want to know how much they are? They're $5 each, which is not terrible in and of itself. But at the end of the day, that's okay. Like, yeah, there's definitely cheaper chickens like the Buff Orpingtons. Those things are like $4 or $3 each, but they don't lay your blue eggs that you'd love to get because you found this video somehow. In terms of roosters, they're 22 out of 25. I've never had one of these roosters. I've never been around one of these roosters, so I had to do a little bit of research for that. And from what my research concluded is that they are very tame roosters and they do their jobs. I don't know if Green Queens don't do their job because of a mutation or something, or because they just don't do their job for the sake of not doing their job. But I'll say, apparently, according to a lot of online forums, they do their job pretty well and they're pretty tame. So yeah, I just want to quickly know, is this white chicken right over there that just ran a little bit a rooster or a hen? I need some noting there. Reliability, they only lay 180 eggs a year, so 20 out of 25, but they're still pretty cool nonetheless in terms of eggs because they're really dark, which is why they're not below 20. And enjoyability, 25 out of 25. Fluffball exists, so their final score is a 91 out of 100 or an A-. Easter eggers, surprise, surprise, the greatest of the greatest on this list. You can argue that other chickens are better, but Easter eggers, in my honest opinion, are the most reliable on this list. Money, 25 out of 25, man. They're only $4 each, which is almost a bargain for those color of eggs. Which, yeah, if you're getting like 8 of them, yeah, that's gonna be like $32, but that's nearly the same as getting 6 Green Queens. Roosters, that's 24 out of 25. I've been around one Easter egg rooster in my entire life. That rooster was the friendliest thing ever, and according to my friend, he did his job properly. And then reliability, 25 out of 25 again. They lay about 250 eggs a year, although they do break for a couple months, but they do lay after Valentine's Day, but they don't lay after Halloween. So those are the 2 gates for their little break. And enjoyability, 24 out of 25. Chicken burger, BCT, abs. Those 3 chickens are really cool. The only reason they're not 25 out of 25 in terms of enjoyability is because of Kit Kat. She's a little bit of a suck-up for Falcon, and she is very untame. If the other chickens were raised like that, they would probably be untamed as well. So, yeah, they're a little bit of a suck-up around the roosters, but they're very friendly around humans if they're not a suck-up for the rooster. So that gives them a 98 out of 100 or an A+. If you derived anything from this video, be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to see more reviews like this, or even just a review on a certain breed, comment that breed down below. Comment your favorite chicken breed down below. And also, if you've made it this far, be sure to type 3 in the comments below. Just literally the number 3 or spelled out form, whichever one you like. And I'll catch you guys. Click on. If you somehow made it this far in the video and you enjoyed this content in any way, shape, or form, be sure to click on the video on screen, which teaches you how to hatch out any chicken. So that's it.